Hi, everybody. My name is Christina Inge, and I am a curriculum developer and consultant. I work extensively with universities as well as private organizations, and I also manage several corporate partnerships for the Northeastern University College of Professional Studies. Today, we're going to be talking about the role of instructors in designing effective industry partnerships for universities. Organizations, large and small, love to partner with universities because of the great talent that we bring to the table, as well as the opportunity for them to gain innovation, new perspectives, and frankly, market potentially to the next generation of their own customers. But how do we as instructors help facilitate or sometimes even start these partnerships? University instructors play a vital role in fostering productive partnerships between academia and industry. We can leverage our expertise, and we have our own industry connections, and we can help design mutually beneficial collaborations that drive innovation and help prepare our students for the workforce. So let's dig into how we can do that. So again, a little bit about me. I'm an instructor at Northeastern University, where I'm also a curriculum designer. And I have led several partnerships for Northeastern. I teach in the digital marketing program, and I built the partnerships with SEMrush, which is a major SEO and social media software platform, as well as originating and helping to develop an intense partnership with the HubSpot software platform, and have also worked with other industry partners, including data analytics platforms, as well as video platforms as well. So I consult also with organizations including Colorado State, Western Governors, and Ernst & Young on their marketing, communications, and innovation curricula. And I do everything from instructional design to curriculum development as subject matter expert. But today we're going to talk specifically about those industry partnerships and some of the vital learnings that I developed building these partnerships with software companies, high-tech companies for Northeastern, and how we can leverage these kinds of partnerships for helping our students learn better and get better jobs in the future. So why are industry partnerships so important? Well, one thing is it allows us to bring real-world practical applications of the theory we are teaching into the classroom. Students will get a chance to apply classroom concepts in real-world settings, whether it's using real-world software or actually getting micro internships and other opportunities to work hands-on in industry through these partnerships. One of the things that we get from our HubSpot partnership at Northeastern, for instance, is these micro internships that allow students to earn certifications in digital marketing from HubSpot, in addition to the degree that they're earning in the classroom, as well as get a hands-on high-level project where they can immediately apply what they're learning in the classroom. And students really love this ability to build their resumes. It's a very competitive job market out there, but when students are able to say, I didn't just learn this in the classroom, I actually have this hands-on experience with an employer, and I can actually speak to what I am able to do just hitting the ground running as an employee, that can give students a real edge, as well as giving them professional references and giving them the exposure to professional mentorship as well. But it's a two-way relationship between our classrooms and industry. It isn't just, that we're sending students out into industry to gain experience. Those industry partnerships actually also help us enhance what we're teaching in the classroom. So we can bring industry experts into our classroom for guest lectures, for instance. Or, for instance, one of the great things that I get out of my SEMrush partnership, which again is a marketing software platform, is that students gain access to the software, which is usually very expensive for students to otherwise gain access to, so they can use the software. I use it all the time, hands-on, in demos in the classroom, as well as for completing our homework, which makes the homework so much more realistic and engaging for the students, because students are often asked in job interviews whether they have any hands-on experience with specific software platforms or conducting particular digital marketing campaigns. And thanks to the access that the partnerships give to us, I'm actually able to give students that hands-on experience. And so students aren't just writing papers, which increasingly we all know is a challenge in the age of AI, to make sure students are really digging in and doing original work. They're actually hands-on performing the skills that I'm teaching them using real-world software right there in the classroom. So it's revolutionized my curriculum to be able to bring industry software into the classroom rather than just have students working on things that are theoretical or simulations. And that, frankly, leads to experiential learning. We've talked a little bit about micro-internships as well as the hands-on use of software. Additional opportunities for experiential learning include site visits to employers. We've been able to do several of those, and it gives students even more experience talking to clients, engaging in real-world projects. And in fact, we get lots of projects where the students can do almost a mini internship. So whether it's just a site visit or using software, or whether it's a mini internship and using industry standard tools, we really are giving students a lot of opportunity to gain real world experience while enhancing our own curricula. So in addition to that practical application that bridges the gap between theory and practice, it also can open up career opportunities for students. I have had several students actually end up being hired as interns and sometimes as full-time employees eventually with organizations that we have built partnerships with. A lot of times we will have students do a project for a small business or a nonprofit in my classroom, and students have ended up with jobs through those opportunities. Even if it doesn't turn into a job, like I mentioned before, it can turn into a referral, it can turn into a reference. So it does open up career opportunities. And again, it can also turn into a mentorship relationship. In addition to the immediate hands-on curriculum benefits that I've already talked about, for instance, giving students real software to do their homework with rather than something that is purely theoretical or writing a paper, if you build up an in-depth relationship with your industry partners, you're also getting an opportunity to learn about best practices in the field and gain perspective from different industries. I myself come from industry. Like I said, I am a consultant. I'm also a marketing consultant, but I've only got experience in maybe 5 to 7 different industries, but through those industry partnerships, I get exposure to 20, 30 different industries, thereby helping me learn a lot more about what's going on out there. And again, enhancing and deepening my curriculum on a much broader level. And then that in turn is real faculty development. It's not just for me that I'm learning about the latest tools and technologies, but I also am able to take those learnings back and conduct trainings for my fellow faculty on best practices such as the use of AI in marketing. I am a marketing instructor and digital media instructor, and there's a lot of changes going on in our industry right now. And through those industry partnerships, I'm able to both learn things, but then also bring them back to my organization, to my department, and conduct faculty development trainings that then benefit the entire department. So obviously there's a lot of benefits to doing these industry partnerships. But like every big undertaking, where there are benefits, there are also challenges. So the biggest challenge that I have found is aligning interests. A lot of times organizations do industry partnerships because they want to source talent, they want to source interns, or in the case of professional studies, which is my area where I teach, we're teaching working professionals. And these industry partners are really looking to get their product in front of people who are already working in the field, who are investing in their education, and they want to make sure that their product is getting in front of people who are working in the field. That means that sometimes our interests are very different. We all want what's best for students, but obviously our industry partners want what's best for their company as well. They want to, again, get their product in front of professionals or soon to be professionals in their field. They want to get interns. They want to build their talent pipeline, whereas you want to increase your curriculum's relevance to the real world. You want to keep your students engaged and excited. And it's not that these are contradictory goals, but you do still have to make sure that they align and that everyone's getting what they need out of the industry partnership. Like any working relationship, it requires continuous negotiation to make sure everyone gets what they need out of the relationship. On a much more practical level, I actually have found that it's usually pretty minor issues that I encounter in building industry partnerships. One is scheduling conflicts. My classes are often in the evening because, again, I teach in the College of Professional Studies. It's often hard if I want a guest lecture from an executive to get them to come in an evening class. You're asking people to give some of their personal time. It also can make calls and meetings a little bit challenging. But even if you have a daytime class, you're dealing with folks who have a lot of competing demands on their time, as do you, as do your students. And so the more people who are involved, you have a class of 30, 40 students, it can be a challenge to make sure that anything that happens outside of classroom time happens, or that you can bring people into the classroom. Sometimes there are also policy considerations. Your institution may have concerns about intellectual property that's developed using the software, for instance, that's provided to you for free. The organization may have concerns about how many people are using the software, or they may have stringent program rules. One challenge that I face, for instance, with one of our partnerships is that the program rules keep changing. It used to be very loose and open, but for instance, they set a minimum recently that you have to have a class size of at least 20 in order to be able to use the software. That may not be a challenge for a large state institution, but if you're a private liberal arts college, or like me, you are teaching graduate seminars, you may not be able to meet those criteria. So you have to sometimes negotiate with your industry partner. And the more established the industry partner program is within the organization that you're partnering with, oftentimes the more stringent those rules. And so it can be a challenge to meet those rules. And then finally, there's follow through. People will often start these partnerships with a lot of fanfare and a lot of excitement, but then either students don't follow through, or the partner becomes busy, or sometimes you become busy. So a lot of times, a partnership, it's very prestigious. People are really excited to sign up for it, but then the real work starts of continuing to maintain that partnership. And so make sure that you really foster the relationship. Be sure of what you're signing up for, because the reality is that if you initiate that partnership, it's going to be a fair amount of work on you to maintain that partnership and that relationship. You're going to be the one maintaining the follow-throughs, sending the reminders, setting up the meetings. So make sure that that's something that you have the time and energy to put on your plate. If you're tenure track, make sure that that's something that's going to be rewarded as service, or that you just find it personally rewarding, because it is a fair amount of work to maintain those follow-throughs, and it is going to be mostly on you. So aside from maintaining those follow-throughs, there are other ways in which we as instructors play a critical role in building these industry partnerships. One is simply finding those industry partnerships. I have been the initiator of several industry partnerships, and at other times it's been my job to maintain them. But when you find an industry partnership, you can really enhance your profile within your organization, as well as really help your students. So first and foremost, think in terms not just what you need in your classroom. You already know that. You know what your colleagues need in their classrooms. But think about who in industry might need what you have to offer. In other words, if you are graduating a bunch of talented students, who is hiring in your area? If you have industry professionals in your class because you're in a graduate program. Who is in need of getting in front of those folks, for instance, with software that they're manufacturing? Who needs access to your students, and who wants to raise their profile and get feedback from students of your industry in your sector? So first and foremost, identify what value you bring to industry, and make sure that you're not shy about sharing that. Share that you can help organizations build their talent pipeline. Share the fact that you're able to train the next generation of users of their software, because these are incredibly valuable aspects of a collaboration opportunity. So identify what you bring to the table. Then start looking for industry partnerships that will allow you to bring those skills, talents, pieces of information, software access, industry access that you need into your classroom. You might need to leverage your alumni network. Plenty of alumni of your school probably have connections and might be working at some of your target industry organizations. Make sure that you keep networking, though. This is a great opportunity. Don't just go to faculty and industry sector events for teachers and for instructors in your profession, for professors in your profession. Also go to those commercial trade shows, conferences, and networking events. Meet the representatives from these organizations. I built every industry partnership that I've ever built by attending industry conferences and trade shows. So you really need to break out of that academic mold and make sure you're going to industry events where you can build the partnerships with those companies where you want your students to gain access. That's the most critical way. It's those face-to-face relationships. So now that you've identified what industry needs, start reaching out to potential industry partners. Maybe you've met people at a conference, maybe you've connected with them through your alumni network, but the next thing you want to do is reach out to them and maybe just start asking questions. Try to understand the skill requirements that they're hiring for. Try to understand the technology trends that they're seeing out there in their sector, and try to identify what workforce recruitment challenges that they have. Listen before you start talking to understand a little bit further how your institution can start bringing value to those industry partners. Then start going back to your institution, to your program, and start understanding what the gaps are in your existing curriculum, in faculty expertise, in resources and activities that you have, so you can now identify your ask. So let's say you now know that you have an industry partner who wants to build their talent pipeline and start meeting your students in order to start recruiting talented people for their organization. So you now know what they want. Now think about what you need. Maybe they have deep expertise in data analytics and you don't currently have any faculty who teaches data analytics. Right there, you've got a gap, because that's a topic that, for instance, your students want some information on or want some exposure to. And so one of the gaps that you have is expertise. So now you know you can ask, for instance, for guest lectures, for materials, for videos, for training materials from your industry partnership. Activities, for instance, maybe you need to do some on-site visits. Maybe students would love to visit some local employers. That's another gap that you have where you can make the ask of allowing your students to make an on-site visit. Maybe you need some additional training modules on a particular type of software, and they already have those training modules ready and available for you. So that's where you've got a gap in your curriculum. But think about what your ask is. So then you know, once you can show what value you bring to the table, you can also then ask what value you want from your industry partner. But make sure this is not a one and done. You want to make sure that you are continuously evaluating whether you're getting the most out of this partnership and whether you're giving to your industry partners what they were looking for. Ask for feedback. after the first semester from your faculty? Did you utilize the materials that our industry partner sent to us? Were you able to invite in a guest lecturer? Did the students enjoy the materials? Did the students enjoy the guest lecture? Did you do a field trip? What did you actually get from that industry partnership, and what felt like it was missing? And then make sure you also do the same check-in with your industry partners and make sure they are feeling satisfied with the relationship as well. Nobody expects an industry partnership to be perfect the first time. As long as things go reasonably smoothly, it makes sense for it to start small and maybe not realize its full potential in the first semester. Maybe only a few classes invite in a guest lecturer. Maybe you only do one field trip to the employer. And in the fullness of time, in a couple of years, you've got large numbers of guest lectures, field trips. You're using their training modules from your industry partner in the classroom. You're using their software as an expert yourself. It will grow to that. So try to make sure you identify some easy wins in the beginning, and then again, engage in that feedback loop to keep growing the relationship with the industry partner. So we've talked a little bit about how do we do that kind of industry outreach. Let's get into the specifics of an industry outreach email. So you've identified your potential partners, you've identified what you want from them, and you've identified what your organization brings to the table. Make sure you thoroughly research the potential partners and are able to come up with a custom pitch to each industry partner. Maybe one company makes software that you want your students to be able to use because they're going out on job interviews and they're being asked, do you know how to use this software? And that's really critical for them. Maybe another organization has executives where you want guest lectures from them. Have a list of what you would like from the partnership, but then also have a list of what you're going to bring to the table. And then reach out to the industry partners and describe your program. Describe what kinds of students you have, what kind of talent they might be able to recruit from among your students. Describe the size of your program. Describe the exact curriculum that you're teaching and how they would fit into that. Again, make sure, however, you're not primarily asking, you're also talking about the value that you bring and demonstrate that value in your outreach. So again, we have X number of students with the kind of skills that you want to recruit from. That would be a great way to reach out to a potential partner. You're not just saying, hey, we need access to your software. You're giving them something a lot more thorough in terms of what you're asking for. Once they have shown some initial interest, you want to make sure that you're very proactive in defining the partnership. You want to have all of this in writing. You want to define the scope of the partnership. Is it going to be free software and guest lectures? Is it going to be access to industry mentors? Is it going to be field trips? What precisely are they giving you and what are you promising them in return? Make sure to get it in writing. A lot of industry university partnership programs on the side of the industry partner have well-defined documentation of what their university partnerships tend to look like. They may even have a partner manager who works with faculty and university departments. If that's the case, they will usually already have a definition for you. So for instance, both my SEMrush relationships and my HubSpot relationships started out with a very well-defined set of parameters as a jumping off point because both programs have program managers specifically for doing university partnerships. However, when we've partnered with nonprofits, they often might be doing the first ever partnership with you and your class and your program. And the two of you will need to come up with something from scratch. You can use some of those other partnership documents as inspiration, but make sure that all of the roles and responsibilities are clearly defined, including who's going to own the relationship on both sides. Generally speaking, again, if you're the faculty member, you're going to be owning it on the university side, but who's going to own it on the industry side as well? So now you start defining your curriculum for this industry partnership. So again, a lot of times industry partnerships are really recruitment partnerships. Your industry partner is truly looking for the ability to reach new graduates and be able to recruit from your talent pool. Now, this does not necessarily mean that you're going to change your entire curriculum to make your students attractive potential employees to this one industry partner. However, one of the great benefits of an industry partner is the ability that you're getting real world feedback from a employer about what are they looking for? What kinds of employees are they looking for? What kind of skills are they not able to readily recruit for? So you're taking advantage of this opportunity to really look at your own curriculum and build it in such a way as to give your students those 21st century skills. And you're getting it straight from the employer, what they're looking for when you're doing one of these industry partnerships. So as you leverage your industry partnerships, start thinking about how can I adjust my curriculum based on the feedback or the information I'm getting from my industry partner. So start to sit down with your industry partner and ask them point blank, what are the skills that we should be teaching in the classroom? Doesn't mean you're going to change your curriculum for purely commercial purposes, but be practical, be pragmatic, and ask them, if you were teaching this class, or if you were recruiting my students, which you're hoping that they will, what are some of the skills you think that they need to know? So engage directly with the partner to assess their talent needs, and then start thinking about what skills you could be teaching in your classroom. One thing we know that all employers, or at least most employers, are truly looking for is hands-on learning. They're looking for students who are more than just theoretically proficient. They actually know how to use specific software, manage programs, manage projects, write the code, design the materials, design the ad campaign, or whatever your industry requires. They're looking for students who actually know how to do that. So consider, when you're looking at your curriculum and aligning it with industry needs, consider adjusting some of your assignments. So for instance, a lot of times you can incorporate your industry feedback in designing something like a capstone project. I do a lot of that in my own classroom. I will have students, for instance, create an entire ad campaign using industry software, or if we're working with a smaller nonprofit as our partner, working to create an awareness campaign for that nonprofit. And that capstone assignment is a specific deliverable. The students can add it to their portfolios, and in doing so, they are creating a real resume builder, as well as a portfolio builder as digital marketing professionals. Again, that's the subject that I teach. And you're really giving students that one assignment that really looks like a real world project, real world assignment, and helps them to not only build their skills, but to showcase those skills to potential employers. So that can be one of the ways in which you are helping your students with that two-way feedback that you're getting from employers. I haven't talked a lot about this yet, but another part of industry partnerships that kind of overlaps with curriculum design is sometimes industry partners actually want your expertise. Let's not forget that we as instructors are bringing a lot to the table as well. And so sometimes part of an industry partnership might be that you are providing training to the industry partner. I've been part of that as well. I can't name names, but as part of my work at Northeastern, I was brought in to a major insurance company to help their staff learn how to do better content marketing and search engine optimization, which is the science of making sure that your content shows up on searches both on Google and beyond. So after many years of bringing experts into our classrooms from industry, I was brought into industry to be an expert in their corporate training. So bear that in mind as an opportunity as well for your organization, that your faculty might be called on to be the experts for industry in their areas that they teach. When that happens, you have to be prepared to be flexible. And frankly, you can often enhance the relationship with the corporate partner by offering flexible opportunities such as sending some of their staff into your classes so they can learn a specific skill. I'm actually having some folks doing that right now in some of my classes, or you might produce a webinar or some other piece of content in order to engage your industry partners with some specific area of expertise that you have. So again, upskilling the staff at your industry partner is an additional piece of value that you can deliver. And again, can't emphasize enough that whether you are designing curriculum for industry, for your students to learn more industry skills, or whether you're doing something that's more mutual and you're actually also training people at your industry partner, keep getting feedback, keep getting refinements to your curriculum in the form of, for instance, asking your industry partner to sit in on a class or give feedback on that capstone assignment that your students did. Have them give feedback on, was this effective? Is this something that you would expect to see in the workplace? And make sure that you're not just sitting down for coffee once with your industry partner, getting their feedback, and then just go off and do your own assignment. Make sure they actually see the end result of that curriculum design, see the assignments that are coming out of it, and even some of the student work, and are able to give you feedback on it. So just to sum up some of the benefits of being part of an industry partnership, we've talked about how we can have hands-on projects with industry partners, both for-profit and non-profit. We can also use industry software in order to train our students and staff and give them access to enterprise-grade tools. We can help make our curriculum more skills-based and more practical for the 21st century workforce. We can organize industry partner site visits that give students more opportunity to build connections and grow their careers and potentially even be recruited. And we can also build industry mentorship relationships with the leaders at our industry partners. One thing that I haven't spoken to a lot is the concept of certifications and interactive modules. So I want to very briefly speak on that. As part of the HubSpot relationship that we have, HubSpot offers a variety of free certifications on very specific areas of digital marketing, such as email or advertising design. And these certifications are free to anybody, but they very specifically support providing these certifications to students in the form of recognizing students who earn multiple certifications. And in fact, these are pre-designed interactive modules that they provide for us that have video, interactive quizzes, and hands-on activities using software that the students otherwise wouldn't have access to, and that definitely gives them some workplace skills that they need. And so I've integrated several of the certifications into my curriculum. And if you want some specifics on how I'm doing that, please feel free to reach out to me. But very briefly, I integrated some of these interactive modules into my both in-person and online classes, and students earn both course credit and certifications while they're doing their work. And it's not about shoehorning content into the classroom. This actually enhances a lot of what I'm teaching and gives students an additional credential. So now that we've talked about how do we build industry partnerships, we've talked about some of the benefits, we've talked about how to manage these partnerships, let's talk about expanding them. So one of the ways in which you can start to expand your industry partnership, as I talked about before, you want to walk before you run. Maybe the first year you're just using that free software that they provide you with and maybe doing some on-site visits or doing some guest lectures. But as you start to build that mutual investment, as you start to build mentorship relationships between the industry partner staff and your own students, as you start to get more involved with getting software, getting materials. Sometimes they will even lend you equipment if they're in a hardware intensive field. You are starting to provide additional benefits to each other. Now might be the time to actually develop an internship program with the industry partner that is formal and earmarked for your own students. As I mentioned before, through the HubSpot partnerships, we have access to a pool of micro internships. These are earmarked specifically only for students who are at HubSpot partner colleges and universities. The people who provide these micro internships are assured as a result that the students that they're getting for these internships have been trained on the software, have support at their home institutions, both from the faculty and from the institution as a whole, and that they have had some basic training on the software. So there's a lot of benefits to getting an intern through a program that has already been familiarizing those interns with your organization and with your institution if you're an industry partner. It's a lot of work and effort to train interns, and if you are sourcing interns from a university partner program, a lot of that training's already been done. So it's a huge benefit to your industry partner if they start sourcing interns from within your program. So don't be shy, again, about reaching out to formalize some kind of an internship program that is earmarked for the students who are coming up through your industry partnership program. This can be a huge student recruitment tool, a huge student retention tool, that you have a particular internship that is only for students in your program. And it can also be a great partner retention tool because they're getting great and often pre-trained interns through that program. So again, you want to make sure that you keep building out that program and potentially have internships integrated into it. If you can't go as far as doing internships, again, projects can be a great way to give students that micro internship experience. Maybe you design an email campaign or an advertising campaign if you're a marketing class for the industry partner. It's not as extensive and robust as an internship. They're not there for 3 or 4 months, but maybe they do a one hands-on project, and that still gives them a lot of real-world experience in addition to, again, building their resumes as well as building relationships within industry. Now, I've talked a lot about managing your industry partners. What about managing fellow faculty and getting more faculty involved in those cross-pollinating industry and academia partnerships? So one of the things that you want to do is make sure that you bring your fellow faculty along with you. You don't want this limited to just your own classroom. You want your whole department ideally involved. So again, some of the things that I've been able to do to foster on the faculty side are industry partnerships, are those professional development opportunities. I don't have the power to offer course release time, but we do strongly encourage faculty to participate in these programs. And again, although it isn't course release time, those pre-designed interactive modules and those certification curricula that we get from the partnerships do reduce the amount of grading that faculty have to do because, again, it's the industry partner who grades the homework that the students do as part of the industry certification. They're earning the certification from HubSpot or from SEMrush, and those certifications are graded on the HubSpot and SEMrush side, not by your faculty members. And so you do reduce their workload, and that is a great incentive to help them see the value in these industry partnerships. Again, professional development is also a wonderful incentive. I've conducted several professional development programs for my fellow faculty on everything from AI to SEO, search engine optimization, and they're always very popular. So don't neglect how eager your faculty are to learn from industry partners about the latest developments in the industry, but also how much you can bring back to your department and conduct those trainings yourself as really a bridge between the faculty and the industry partner. We also do a fair amount of public recognition. We always make sure that we tag faculty who have participated in industry partnership activities, always make sure to give them a shout out and thank them for their service in participating in that activity, whether it's in the newsletter or whether it's on LinkedIn. You want to make sure that people feel appreciated for helping out with that really critical partnership for your organization. And again, people also want to be recognized by conducting some form of training or professional development. I myself find it very rewarding when I do professional development. So don't neglect the fact that faculty often want to share their expertise with each other. And also, frankly, those corporate training opportunities that I talked about earlier can be both paid opportunities as well as great ways to open up dialogue and build relationships with industry for the faculty themselves, even if it isn't paid. So that can be a great opportunity. Again, faculty want to share their expertise with industry, and so make sure that they have that opportunity to do so, and they may find that an incentive as well as for part of their university service. We talked a little bit earlier on the importance of bringing guest lecturers into the classroom. So you might have some questions about, okay, how do I do that? How do I bring a guest lecturer into the classroom? Maybe they've never given a university lecture before, they're shy, or they're nervous, or they haven't been in the classroom for a long time. How do I help my guest lecturers? Well, I, again, often like to tell my guest lecturers, just share your expertise on this topic, and I know the students will really appreciate it. Make sure you give them some guidance, though. So ask them, for instance, to share some real-world insights like a case study, or to do a demo of a particularly relevant skill that the students have been eager to learn, or share a cutting-edge perspective, like some new research that your industry partner has done about the state of the industry. Those are three really exciting areas where your guest lecturer can really provide value and find it to be a rewarding experience to give that guest lecture. Now, you don't have to, again, limit people to just guest lectures. What if somebody says that they're too busy, they can't come to your class at 6 p.m. on a Thursday? You might want to start building relationships with them as industry mentors. Maybe they can meet with a small number of students. But again, really, in terms of getting guest lectures, I found that case studies, hands-on skills demos, as well as sharing research, those are three things that many industry experts love to do, and students really appreciate that as well. Now, I mentioned before about integrating certifications. I have found that to be something that the students absolutely love. They love the certifications because it is a broad-based, industry-wide validation of their skills. However much your students may love and respect you, they know that your A or B that you gave them is just your opinion. But if they earn a top score on an industry-wide exam that hundreds of thousands of people have taken, that's just an additional validation of their skills. So don't think of certifications as a way to commercialize your curriculum or as a compromise with your industry partnership. It's far from that. It's an additional way for your students to validate their skills. And again, if you look through the curriculum for a lot of these certifications, it can give you ideas for your own curriculum and helping align it with what industry standards are, because a lot of these certifications speak to very specific hard skills that industry recruiters are now looking for. And so you can, again, borrow from those certification curricula to enhance your own curriculum, or again, just plug and play, plug in some of those certifications into your curriculum to make it more hands-on, more practical, and more up-to-date. Either way, you will find your students I have certainly found my students to be much more confident after they earn some of these industry certifications. It doesn't take them extra time because, again, you're giving them partial course credit. A part of their grade for the course is dependent on their earning that certification, but they've now earned an additional credential. And again, because it's industry-wide, the students know that it is a significant achievement. They love to put it on their resumes, and again, they're often very proud of it. So let's say you've been running your partnership now for a while. It's been highly successful. How do you communicate within your department that this is a successful partnership? Well, there's a bunch of metrics that you can use. First of all, you can quantify internship placements. How many of your students got internships related to the industry partnership, maybe with the industry partner, or using the skills that they gained through certifications or through those mentorship relationships. Also look at what they get as job offers post-graduation and what skills they self-report. You can also look on the faculty side, how many people have updated their curricula because of information that came in through the industry partner, how many faculty have built joint research projects or built their own independent relationships with those industry partners that are enhancing the intellectual property and activities happening within your department. That can also be a really critical metric. And again, oftentimes industry partnerships will turn into donations of more than just free software. They'll turn into financial benefits for the university in terms of funding. And so there might be even a quantifiable dollar amount that comes through that. But even if there isn't, there's a lot of benefits to those industry partnerships that you can measure, whether it's internships, job offers, students who have earned certifications, faculty who are doing joint research, or just the dollar value of all of the materials, equipment, and software that was donated by your industry partner. Now, as these relationships grow, you're obviously going to encounter some challenges. To maintain your partnership, you want to make sure that you stay in close communication. We've talked a lot about maintaining that two-way street of communication. This is especially important in an environment where priorities change. Your industry partnership manager may move on to another job, and you need to rebuild the relationship with the new partner manager. Take the time, be proactive, and do that. Make sure that you're continuously aligning on the expectations and again doing those pulse checks, because it can often be a small misunderstanding can lead to a misalignment in what people are expecting. So make sure you continuously communicate, especially as industry and institutional priorities change. And again, everybody's facing budget constraints. This may mean that your partnership on the industry side may become less generous over time. So just be prepared to be continuously renegotiating what your industry partners can provide. And maybe one year they can't provide quite so many donations of software or equipment, but they can do more site visits or provide you with more mentors. So make sure that you collaborate on how is this going to be funded and what can each party contribute to the relationship. So industry partnerships are a very valuable way to grow your curriculum, improve outcomes for your students, and be able to create a better experience for your students both during their participation in your program and beyond. It can be challenging, but again, I've managed multiple industry partnerships, and although the time commitment is not insignificant, the benefits to students, both in terms of the skills that they gain, as well as the post-graduation job offers that they see, can be significant. Now, if you want to learn more or you want to just pick my brains about managing industry partnerships, my contact information is on the screen. You can find me at christinainge@northeastern.edu, or I welcome you connecting with me at LinkedIn. I want to thank you again for coming out to or tuning in virtually to my presentation. And again, if you want to ask a bit about how do I manage my own industry partnerships, how do I grow my curriculum, how do I improve my student outcomes, please feel free to reach out to me. I'm always there at christinainge@northeastern.edu. Again, thank you for coming to my talk, and happy partnering.